And who is your money on here out of these guys?
Well, I'm going to agree with the desk, Stumpy. I do think that Version1 have the talent and experience needed to take this one, but you never know in the RLCS X, and you never know in the Swiss format that we are all currently enjoying, so we could go either way, but I like the way, in theory, that this new V1 look to be playing themselves. I mean, Gimmick, as he actually scores a goal, I assume there'd be a defender, but they didn't. There wasn't, should I say, and it's 1-0 Version1, and that was easier than I expected.
Scores a very open net, as the last defender, Andy, isn't quite able to get back in time. Not too sure where they were heading off towards, but maybe just wanted a little bit of boost to try and help out with the defensive effort. Maybe that's one of those situations where you need to be making sure that you are just covering bases more than you typically would, because anything that you're going to be seeing the Version1 guys doing, they're going to be a standard in the RLCS, and that is where you're at now, Team Frontline. You've made it top 16. Don't throw this chance away.
Yeah, they're going to have to play better than that, but they are off the back of a 3-0 win against Mamba Mode, so at the very least, they won't be losing. Even if they were to lose the next 3 of their games, they wouldn't be finishing in that dreaded, is it 14th to 16th, I think it is, for the 2 teams that go 0-3. So that's the first pitfall to avoid, and they've done just that. The second pitfall would have been not conceding early against the V1, which is looking very threatening in attack against some of the top teams in NA, and that one they failed with.
I mean, Version1 are looking to be, like I said before, one of the more exciting teams, I feel. Not because necessarily we don't know them, what are they going to do? It's that we do know them, and we know what they can do. And it's nice to see that AXB did manage to obviously to find a home after the squishy departure from the previous Cloud9 roster left a gap open with Gimmick and Torment. And AXB, I feel, has learned a lot from his mechanical teammates, and he is a member of that team that I think was typically underrated purely because you have Sipical over there, and he is one of the best players in the world. It's hard to stand out.
It's almost impossible to stand out in a roster like with Sipical in. But now he's on a very different challenge where he'll be hoping to bring out the best in Gimmick, and especially Torment, who had some tough times in recent months. But seems to have come out the other side, and now his team enjoy a 1-0 win. But it's being made more and more difficult by Team Frontline, but that's good dribbling from Gimmick. Man, he does whatever he fancies around the pitch, and what he fancies is getting that second goal. The speed of the dribble, he's looking really good.
Yeah, from that back corner as well, he manages to get it over the top of Beastabonium, who, by the way, what a lovely name to say. Beastabonium. That is wonderful. Fair play. Yeah. Yeah, Gimmick just managing to work his magic over the top of all 3 players in offense, in defense, and in the midfield. He's looking to be playing the game that he wants to play, and that's not what you can do if you're versus Gimmick. You need to try and stop him at every single possibility, because as soon as he feels comfortable, good night.
All right, now it's Version1 that are putting all that pressure on. Torment sticking forward in his new advanced role, seems to be enjoying it. As AXB, you can see there, acting as the 3rd man. Will just head back as soon as he needs to, but it is charged down well by the Team Frontline player. That's a good pass, though, out of defense. Gimmick's going to end up with this one again. Can he get the hat-trick? All from solo plays. Oh, almost. Well saved by Beastabonium. Torment keeps the attack on into the corner, and Delta can find his teammate for what could have been a decent transition, but AXB was too fast to it, and then eventually they will get a little bit of time on the ball.
I mean, speaking of Torment, we said that he had a little bit of a rough few months, obviously part of that previous Cloud9 roster that had the biggest slip, I think, in Rocket League esports history, from not even a roster change. There was nothing dodgy that went on externally. Oh, what a save he's got himself there. And I loved seeing him when he got confident again. I really did. He was always a player that I backed to get back on the horse, and it makes me so happy to see that he is still playing at the top level, and not just as a pity player, as a player that is happily able to stand out. Torment, though, with a chance to get to the save, isn't able to, as Andy sends it fast enough over his head.
It was a classic overcommittal there from Version1. AXB, unlike him, pushing up when he didn't need to. I think he thought that Torment was further back than he actually ended up being, but fair play to Andy, man who was sub for Stromboli last season in the RLCS, now trying to ply his trade as a starter, and doing a decent job if that goal is to be believed. But hang about on the other end, his Gimmick, taking a shot, and it's Andy again that gets the save, and then Delta follows up. Torment is in the air but misses this one, and Andy can come away with it. And Team Frontline after that goal, now have a decent save and a clutch moment to take to the bank and try and build up a little bit more momentum. Important few seconds in the context of this game as that shot goes in. AXB and Torment double commits, but now we are going to have what could be a counter-attack. 2v1, surely it's straight in. You can just see that one happening as soon as the shot up the other end was saved.
It's that pass or shot moment. Gimmick in the perfect position to throw Andy off. Will he shoot? Will he pass? In the end, he went for somewhere in the middle, but because of how much pitch he had gained under his wheels, it was going to be going in regardless. And Marky identified that Andy was his player to look out for, because I think out of these three guys, he would be the most well-known. Like you said, having that sub-spot on Stromboli last season and being able to work his way into the top 16 thus far, or top 32 rather. AXB wanted to make him look silly though, and Gimmick isn't quite able to finish it off.
These little solo plays from version 1, they're not particularly flashy, but they're so controlled. It seems that it's whenever they get a time to sort of attack the ball and there's not a defender anywhere near them, that's when they can really do some damage, when they have a chance to dribble and keep it low. We get to see really someone like Gimmick open up from the skies, but the scary thing is about V1 is that we know they are more than capable of that, just as Torment is capable of getting in the way of that delta clearance, and now Gimmick might have a little bit of time on the ball, depending on how speedy Beastabonian is to getting there. But it's looking like version 1 are going to be able to see this game one away. And it's a clean performance from them. They didn't have to overextend too much. The one time they did, they had a goal against them, but they take that first win.
One of the biggest differences that I have seen between Frontline and version 1, literally just in this game, is it comes down to something quite small. Recoveries. The amount of times that it switched to a frontline player and they would just not quite whip out the goal as nicely as a version 1 player would if they went up for an aerial. When they would land, they wouldn't be holding handbrakes. Then they just land so suddenly, and then they had to accelerate and use 30 boosts to get back into position. They are very much their own worst enemy in these situations. And if they can sort that out, land a bit nicer, be just a bit smoother, air roll a little bit more consistently to land better, and flip quickly out of a sideways landing, then I do see that maybe they'll try and shut down the version 1 dribbles a little bit more effectively.
Well, the one goal they got was outpacing version 1 in the center and sort of getting what eventually turned into being a free goal. So they're not slow around the pitch, but I guess the composure that you need to be able to trust your reads gets that much harder when you're playing against a team that is, dare I say, a little bit higher than what they're used to in version 1. But they will have at least 2 more chances in this series, maybe more if they can seal themselves a game as we head into game number 2. And it's version 1 that started the early pressure as the ball falls to AXB.
I always love when you see somebody fall on the ball, and I always hope defenders let that one in. I want to watch it again. I want to see the clip of that on the subreddit and just see how people react to Gimmick hitting the ball in midair. But unfortunately not.
Not this time. I'm sure we'll get another chance to see Gimmick do something silly and crazy and enjoyable and entertaining. But there's Delta making all those things happen for himself. And he bundles it home, but it was Delta in the corner that made the chance come.
That play from Delta to get the double tap off the side, can't quite still score it himself, but it does fall to Andy to force the point home. And for the first time, Frontline do end up taking the lead, and it was got a lot of pressure that they formed as well. They weren't waiting for the ball to come to them. Delta formed the entire play round his dribble.
That's a great transition, though, towards Torment. Just when I was thinking that version 1, the kickoff didn't go their way. They didn't have the boost either after the kickoff or the ball. But they defend it very well indeed. It's been their biggest problem defending is Torment. I guess it's not surprising with AXB and Torment on their roster that they're capable of dealing with pressure when it goes against them. Now down the other end, for the first time in this series, as you say, Stumpy, they are in need of a goal. See what Torment can manage into the corner. It's a soft touch from Andy. I don't think he caught as much of that as he intended to, but it does at least get the ball to halfway, where Beastabonian is called into attack to get a touch. Gimmick into the air, but it's not the best touch onto the backboard. And Torment and Andy go for it together. AXB might be beating Beastabonian here. Yes, he is. Torment into the center. Who's arriving? It's Gimmick, but he's hit the crossbar and then falls on the ball again. There you go. That's something Gimmick's been training, maybe. Landing in a good place to hit the ball.
AXB going for a massive pre-jump there as well. There's been a few misses like that from a lot of the players on the version 1 side. Doesn't seem to have shook them thus far. And ultimately, Frontline not been taking advantage. I don't think he can, though, as AXB has a chance now on the other end does get thwarted by Delta, can go up, use his jump just to stay a little bit higher as Andy intercepts. This frontline lead looking like there's a few cracks in it yet, but it holds.
Does for now. Gimmick launches another attack via AXP, but Beastabonium reads that one very well indeed. These passes are starting to be intercepted by the team frontline players, and a few bumps. There was a demo earlier as well, just trying to get themselves some space, give themselves some room to move into and space to maneuver in. But as soon as they find any, the next touch always seems to be falling to a version 1 player.
Good intercept from AXB there in the midfield as well. As you said it, he was already up to try and get the block in the mid. He went from the left side onto the middle, and Gimmick has a chance and sends it above the crossbar. Few chances for version 1, and none of them yet been taken.
I've seen this from them before. I was watching version 1 in the grid most recently, and they had chances. Their chances against Pittsburgh Knights, G2 and Alpine, but they just couldn't take the opportunities when they came. So this is a team that certainly needs to work on their shooting, as Torment tweeted, saying himself. I think the Gimmick's been the biggest culprit so far. Could have scored a couple in this game. Now we can see whether Team Frontline can get a couple of goals themselves with XP on the backboard, and he does have a chance to pass, but he's missed the ball. However, Beastabonium can keep the attack going, at least for a while, until Torment steams in, combining with Gimmick to send this one outwards. Version 1 needs to get rid of this ball and soon. They need to launch an attack of their own, because right now, I'd say for the first time, this is sustained Team Frontline pressure.
AXB now with a chance to go down the pitch, flicks it high and behind Delta.
Again.
As Gimmick on target, Torment there to finish it. It only seemed like a matter of time. There was a lot of chances afforded to version 1 to score. They didn't take them. Finally, it takes all three, the passing play, and we are even Stevens.
I said it was a miss again from Gimmick, but I think, to be fair, he was just avoiding the two onrushing Team Frontline players to make sure it turned into a pass as opposed to a shot.
It was the whole thing, get any touch.
Yeah.
Like, do what you can, keep the pressure, and if it goes in, cool. If not, Torment's there to follow. Great movement by Torment as well to push up that aggressively. Sometimes I've looked at him and thought, that rotation, you've gone back way too early. You still have the pressure. So I like that he went in that close then. And Gimmick just sort of decided to do a little flip there.
Yeah,
really.
That's what Gimmick does. He does his thing. That's why it's so. I think it's so useful for Gimmick to have a teammate like Torment that knows him and understands him, and you know, dare I say, in the context of a teammate, loves him as well. It just means that when he does do his funky stuff, it works out and doesn't backfire. But hang about, how's that one snuck in?
Torment was beaten in the corner, and then AXB had to go back for boost. And again, the overcommittal. Nobody was back. Nobody could get the touch to send it towards the side. And I think that was Andy ended up scoring it. No, sorry, Delta ended up scoring that one off the sidewall. They take the lead. Frontline taking full advantage. When they get a shot to go far, they go for it.
Yeah, credit to them. You know, you've still got to put it on target, even when the opportunity presents itself to you. Most of their goals coming from their own half in this series, but they won't care at all if they can steal themselves a game. But there is still time for version 1 to equalize. XP's a long way away from this play, though, and Delta's going to be able to get a decent 50-50 to set up Beastabonium. Torment underneath it, tries to find Gimmick and does, but it's a little bit awkward for him. So the hit outwards doesn't really go anywhere, and that swallows up a few more seconds of time. Andy's showing some mechanics up against AXB. AXB clears it, needs to get this next touch, but Beastabonium wins it, and I think, thanks to that bump, version 1 are out of time, and Team Frontline steal game number 2.
They stole goals along with stealing game number 2 as well. I mean, they've scored 3 goals in total thus far. 2 of them have been from overcommits from version 1. Is that symptomatic of the downfall of Torment and Gimmick? Dare I say yes, it is. Is the missed shooting from Gimmick symptomatic of seasons gone by? Yeah. It's not looking great from game number 2, but game number 1 was much stronger. Frontline, very much not out of it. They defended as much as they could, and you can only go with what shots come at you. And if they're wide, you don't need to do much more than just clear it away. I think for version 1, though, you know, the lessons that you take from that second game are simple. Just take your chances when they come. Have a friendly word with Gimmick. Be like, Gimmick, pal, look, you know, I know you're going for those top corners, but just hit the target first and foremost, and we would have won that one comfortably. So for version 1, certainly positives to take from that one, but Team Frontline, let's wait and see if Andy, Beastabonium, and Delta can build on the momentum that they've just established for themselves. It's a good start from them. Beastabonium showing some mechanics to beat AXB to that ball there. Speed across the pitch, looking like a real asset for them. AXB and Torment double commit as well.
In the start of this third game, it's Team Frontline looking the more composed team.
Yeah, Version1 tripping over themselves right out of the gates. I don't want to see any great touch there by AXB, but nobody to follow it up, unfortunately.
Yeah, just trying to buy some time.
I think if there's a pass in the middle that goes that well, and look, there's nobody back, but AXB does get to it in the end. And I want Version1 just to take their time when they do have time, because they've fallen into that horrible trap of, I now have a moment to take a touch, but I'm obviously not going to. Delta up to miss the first one, but down to hit the second.
We've had a few clutch saves as well of Team Frontline. Maybe Version1 starting to get a little bit frustrated by the way this series is going. The Storm puts it out wide, tries to put it up for AXB, but AXB had other ideas. Gimmick is going to have to cut in front of him. Here comes another attack, though, from Delta. Good play right now from Team Frontline. They'll have boost in their tanks, have a little bit of confidence as well, and if Torment's touch isn't perfect, they may well have a first goal to their name in Game 3. Beastabonium's the one there, but it's AXB that it falls to, and dribbles were most effective for Version1 in Game 1. Maybe from this attack, but they have a bit of time. That's what they can launch. Saved well, though, by Beastabonium.
Yeah, decent defense now coming in for Team Frontline. They weren't really pushed too hard in game number 2 to actually save the shots. They sort of saved themselves, but they are definitely having a bit of an onslaught every now and then. Only a few shots have come on target, but they have all been threatening. Andy now, chance for a double tap, but Torment clears away off the backboard, nearly gets around the back of Delta, who misses.
Yeah, there were 2 Version1 players stuck in the goal as well. I don't know what their boost levels were, but it can't have been too high if neither of them were attacking the ball. So scary time still for Version1. Well, as I say that, they do have a clean hit in the form of Gimmick. Here's AXB, the man with the composure to put it away in a game that was starting to look tricky for them, but they do have a much-needed lead.
The backboard defense was absolutely non-existent there as well. Both players in the net decided to drive out to try and get the clear from Delta's hit, but Delta's hit went completely central into the attacking third, his own defensive third, I suppose, the attacking third for Version1. In the end, they managed to just get that tap in from AXB. Now, from the back, Torment pushing up.
Gimmick demos.
Only 20 boost, and it's completely open. Great demos, great bumps. Gimmick clears the way.
Yeah, Gimmick was indeed just smacking the trees away from Torment to clear his path. It wasn't too easy from Torment. He still had to get over Delta, but he's done that comfortably. And now Version1 have a couple of goals to the good. And it just looks tough for Team Frontline because despite all the good work they've done, they have still only scored 3 goals across the 2.5 games that we've had so far, which is the stat you want to see improve from them. Most of the chances that they've had and the goals that they've scored have been from moments exactly like this, where Torment or AXB pushing up a little bit too much of Version1 losing patience. So, you know, you were saying that you want to see Version1 slow the game down, and now they have that 2-goal lead. And for me, I want them to continue at that steady pace and just make sure they're not overcommitting above all else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Version1 have been just classic beating themselves a lot of the time. Oh, Beastabonium gets a chance, though. He hits the crossbar, learning from Gimmick. Now Delta sends it towards the center, but Andy will get it high and above. Gimmick and Beastabonium challenging each other as Torment sends it long, but Delta clearing the path.
Shot.
Middle, shot by Beastabonium, and that little bit of flair has given them their first goal.
Yeah, it was a great finish. Delta was up. He looked for his man, and Beastabonium got in there ahead of Torment. Really nice play. And the good decision-making as well from Delta with the assist. Would have been tempting just to boom that one onto the backboard and see if his teammate, could have followed it up. But going for the pass instead was 100% the correct decision. And Team Frontline do have that goal that they required in this game to get themselves back into it. Here comes Andy with an air dribble. XP follows it up, has Torment to his left. Gimmick filling in the slot in third man. He won't stay there for too long, as you see. He pushes up. Andy reads what Gimmick is attempting. Does very well in doing so.
Torment and Delta, an absolute headlock of the ages. Torment sees Gimmick in the middle, but cleared out by the defensive player. Now Gimmick in the back. Thought it was low on boost, but he does continue. Has 10 now. He challenges Andy in the air. And V1 sticking with their lead. Less convincing than it has been in other games, however.
Beastabonium puts that one onto the backboard. Torment may or may not get a read. He hasn't, which means that Delta can take this shot. Oh, Torment needed Gimmick there. Good communication, it has to be said, from Version1. But the pressure keeps on coming from Team Frontline. Still have time to get this equalizer that could really make this series tough for Version1, but that miss won't help from Delta. His teammate Beastabonium does help him out and actually has boost in the tank still to launch a dribble up against AXB. Bumps him out the way but can't reach the ball. Delta Makes a good decision again to wait for Torment's touch, just to follow it up. They're winning every loose ball right now, a team Frontline.
Oh,
they
no.
can't put it away. This is a role reversal from the second game. Gimmick also lets something go, but just gets a touch. And team Frontline are going to have to come again. Maybe this is the moment. Andy to the backboard. And no one is there on the other side.
Delta continues the pressure, but he made one crucial misplay. He had about 20 boost, and he lingered under the ball and then tried to go for the shot. He could have bumped and had a goal for the third man. He made an error, and that could cost Frontline this game. 10 seconds now. XP tries to work his way out. Gimmick now on the left-hand side. Beastbonian picking up that back 100. Sends it high towards Delta. It continues, but Gimmick with a great demo. Can Torment get on that? Not quite. Gimmick wanting to touch this down as soon as possible. Bounces up. Andy high. AXB now, 50 boost. How far away can he take this?
Dangerous.
Just over the top. The ball stays
Yeah,
high.
it just won't land. It won't hit the floor until right at the end. One of the Version 1 players slams it down in a relieved manner. And Version 1 take what was starting to look like not a stroll in the park, but a game that they take fairly comfortably. Credit to Team Frontline. They made it tough. And what is it they're doing that's making Version 1, I won't say struggle, but at least think about the play? You know, this is not by any means a dominant performance from V1, and that's thanks to something that Frontline are doing.
They're consistently trying to confuse two defenders, like every time. When they go for a shot, they try and get it in the middle. We've seen the amount of times that Torment is susceptible to a double commit, and the Gimmick obviously is partial to one as well every now and then. And every time they can go for a shot that will confuse the defense, they do. They're not doing any standard, normal, I'm just going to try and hit it hard out of the net. If there's Gimmick and AXB next to each other, cool, shoot it between them. See if you can confuse them, and then even if you don't get the goal on that offensive play, you might then get it on the rebound when they've messed up. But I'm still heartbroken over Delta's his lack of bumping. That's what I think I want to see come out from TFL on this one. Have some bumps in there, because you can do it.
I think that Delta actually went for one on Gimmick there, but all it did was clear the path for Torment.
Maybe not.
No. I'm sure in general it's the right play, but in that instance, Stumpy, your advice was terrible, my friend, awful. Because all it's led to is a free goal for Torment, 5 seconds in, and this, I think, is one of the key periods of the series. If they collapse here, and that's not a normal goal. Have a look at this one. You wanted your weird Gimmick plays. Check this out. Watch this. Ready?
Thank you, Gimmick.
There you go.
That's what we want. That's what we want. I want Gimmick to just use air roll and be everywhere. Is that so much to ask?
Be a magnet.
But no, 2 goals straight up.
Be a magnet for Torment's booms. Going, Torment, boom it at me. I'll somehow score even though I'm front flipping in a different direction. Good stuff. Maybe now we can see Version 1 open up a little bit because, you know, this has been a series that they've had to grind their way through. It'd be nice to see them sort of really show their team shape and the strength it is that they're going to be taking some of, dare I say, the larger teams later on if they can see this game out. That'll be fun to do. I really want to see Torment expand himself and attack and Gimmick do his stuff. Look at that, off the backboard, finding AXB. Torment's boost starved, sadly. So this one will come to nothing. But they're starting to open up a little bit now, and Gimmick, I think, is the key for that. He's chasing and he's connecting. And if Gimmick's doing that, then generally his teams are okay.
Hasn't Gimmick always been the key?
Exactly.
I feel like in every team that he's been part of, obviously most notably the Cloud9 World Championship winning roster, if he's on, then they win. It's as simple as that. But he does miss that side boost. AXB will pick it up so that Andy is going to have to return and not get the touch on AXB. But yeah, I think as soon as Gimmick is feeling it, then you're going to do pretty well as a team. And Torment, honestly, been doing a really good job. Seen a couple of double commits out of him, which are somewhat worrying, but he has stemmed the flow massively. And look how offensive he is being. He is making sure that his presence is known in this game.
He's a little bit close to that ball, though, as it came off the backboard. Maybe he could have done something with it if he just stayed a little bit further away. But again, I agree with you there, Stumpy. I like the aggression from him. I like the fact that he's turning on a sixpence. Yeah. Staying in the attack as opposed to defaulting to get him back and picking up boost, because that's where Version 1's seen good. AXB is more than happy to just sit and chill for large parts of the game if that's what's needed, but when he is called into action, he can put it on target, can he? Almost. Delta arrives with the save, Gimmick over the top. AXB is just trying to pincer attack them, the two of them. Now comes the third man in Torment. They have to turn around.
Could have gone up there. Every now and then I'd like to see him just risk something. I think he goes for a lot of cost-benefit analysis of plays, which you need to do ultimately. But every now and then I think he gets it slightly wrong. He knew Gimmick was behind him. Yeah, He knew he could have gone for something. There was a double commit on the ball. Then Andy managed just to get a gentle hit. Go in. Be more adventurous because he's able to get those touches. He has the ability to get there quicker than a lot of players. I think sometimes there's still that lingering issue that he's not quite trusting that the play won't go the perfect way.
Gimmick doesn't care about that at all. He just wants to hit the ball. He'll probably stay up forward for this one, will he? No, he didn't have any boost. I thought that he was going to offer AXB a redirecting offer, but it wasn't to be. So he's winning this one off the backboard. It's Beastabonium onto the corner, and there was a double commit as well there. But actually, it's worked out okay. Beastabonium takes a shot, but Torment is back to get the save and launch a counter-attack maybe. Well read from Delta. And an aerial 50-50, but it's won by Team Frontline. Should have a goal here, but Torment from the side. His cost analysis works out this time as he gets a key save.
That aggression from Frontline was really great. They were making sure that they were in every single area of the pitch, which is what AXB was doing earlier, where he would go up from the side and just try and intercept, keep that pressure on. Every player on Frontline was doing that, and they need to. They only have 90 seconds to score 2 more goals, nearly 3. Otherwise, they're going to be going down.
So near from Torment off the backboard there. AXB's turn now. They're just taking attempts one after the other, Version 1. Really starting to have some fun with this one. A passing play comes in, but it's saved well by Andy. Gimmick can have another go. He's got AXB in the centre waiting for him. An early jump from AXB, but so too from Beastabonium. Now it's Torment's turn, but his touch wasn't the best. Although maybe it was. Maybe it was aggression. Yeah, it's like, Andy, hey, where are you going to put it? I'll be there, and then I'll doink it home.
Doink?
No! That's the second time. In our first RLCS X-Cast on the mainstream, Stumpy, there was a doink that hit the post in about 3 seconds, and that one just hit the post as well. So we haven't been able to commentate on one yet, but I am eagerly awaiting the moment we are.
There will be a game where there will be a doink, and I'm excited for that moment.
Me too.
For the final 30 seconds, Frontline, they need to form something soon. Gimmick up, does manage to beat out Andy. Now, Delta sends it above his goal, but this is just wasting time. AXB keeps it middle.
Delta puts that one down. Beastabonium wants to get onto that one, but AXB just gives him a little nudge. But then Torment misses the ball. Somehow AXB comes away with it, despite being the nudgy from earlier on. That was nudgy, not NRG. Never played for them. Delta down the line. Version 1 just seeing this one away now. Looks like it's series over. And with this finish from Torment, that's exactly what it will be. And in the end, I do think it was the patience that Version 1 showed in this fourth game that is how they walked away with this one so simply in the end.
Yeah, it was simple. I think that's the best way to put it. It was a very simple series. There was obviously that game number 2 that Frontline did manage to take, and that might be important later on for some of the other matches going forwards. Maybe just for seeding if they do make it through. But ultimately, Version 1, we all thought this would happen. Put up more of a fight, to be completely honest. Maybe it was up to Version 1 punching themselves in the head a few times that did level the playing field, though.
I mean, I've done boxing, and punching yourself in the head is never the advised thing. I've done literally days of training, my friend, and not once did they tell me to smack my own forehead unless they were really annoyed at me. Which was actually, now I mention it,
when the instructor grabbed your arm, said, stop punching yourself, stop punching yourself.
Well, you know, it's because I kept punching myself. You know, I can't help that. If I'm punching myself, it's not the right thing to do. But Version 1...
It's the only advice.
Version 1 are the victors, and we'll go to a 2-0 record in this Swiss. What did you make of them, Stumpy? How do you think they'll stack up against your G2s and NRGs if it does come down to it?
I was happy with how Version 1 played. I think they'll need to have a bit more when it comes down to seeing them against those bigger teams in North America, because you have to look at how a lot of these matches will end up going, because only 8 teams can make it through. Do I currently see Version 1 as one of those 8 teams? Yeah, I think I do. I think they will make it through. Will they make it hard on themselves? Yeah, almost certainly. It's going to be heart-wrenching for any of the Version 1 fans, I feel, today. You're not going to enjoy it. I imagine Torment's mum is sitting out there not having a good time watching it when it comes down to probably a Game 5 overtime in round number 5. So, you know, hopefully it'll all be all right with the Version 1 fans. I am excited to see more of them. I think that is a very, very solid basis for a team. I think AXB is a very strong player. He comes from a very strong team into another very strong team. Torment and Gimmick looking more confident than they have done previously. Yeah, I'm excited.
I think the key word that you said there was solidity. I don't see V1 as a team that's going to be outpacing the best that NA has to offer, beating them to every ball and dominating them with pressure. I see this as a team that's going to be able to take its chances when they come and just make sure they never overextend. There are real lessons they can take from that team Frontline performance, because they were giving away goals that they should not be, and they'll be punished even more against teams later on in this Swiss. But maybe Stumpy and I are wrong, and you guys watching on at home have got other ideas. Let us know at RL Esports using the hashtag RLCSX. Otherwise, Stumpy, should we come back in a few minutes and cast another series of Rocket League, do you reckon? Should we do that?
I think we should, because after this break, we are going to be returning with Infinite Shots versus Pittsburgh Knights, the first fully Mexican team to ever compete and graduate into the RLCS versus a brand new Pittsburgh Knights roster. It's going to be fantastic. Make sure you join us soon.